Drew in Olathe, Kansas. Am I saying it right now, Drew?
Hey, Tom.
Hey,
I wanted to talk about the economy and specifically the two presumptive candidates right now, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Trump, obviously, we know nothing's going to happen with him. I really don't think Hillary is in the right mindset for handling the economy when we're looking at going into negative interest rates. I mean, I look at Bernie, and Bernie's talking about investing in green jobs and all this, and I think we have three pillars of what I call three pillars of crony capitalism. We have the fossil fuels, we have health care, and to some extent we have the gun lobby. And all of these are crippling, especially the first two are crippling our economy flourishing. And I feel like what we need to do with fossil fuels to fix this is we need to completely take away their subsidy, put half of it in solar to mass produce it to plummet the price, and then we need to invest the other half in biomass, if you know what I'm talking about with biomass.
I do. I would add a third industry to your list, Drew, for what it's worth, and that's the health insurance industry, which...
well, no, that's what I was talking about, health insurance, pharmaceutical.
Yeah, which is skimming, hundreds of billions of dollars a year, or at least, I think it's 600... Just Medicare Part D is a $600 billion a decade subsidy to the pharmaceutical companies. And of course the health insurance companies. I think that it's a $1 trillion business now. It's amazing.
Well, and like I was saying about biomass, the problem with biomass is right now we don't have a standardized engine or something to do the job. I don't know if you already know this, but putting the money into R&D, we can get these two things into every American household and help make people self-sustaining. And we can also, it's going to create a lot of jobs. And then outside of that, using that subsidy money, of course, Bernie could put that money into infrastructure, and all of that would grow jobs tremendously.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the challenge, of course, is the Republican Party and the fossil fuel industry. You've got Republicans in Arizona, in Utah, in California, in several states. I mean, California, they haven't been successful. But in many states, Republicans are actually passing laws taxing solar, making it harder to put solar up. Penalizing people for going with renewable solar or wind. There's this huge, PR campaign that's been launched by the fossil fuel industry and all of their front groups. I mean, it's just astonishing how the public be damned, the public good be damned, the future of the planet be damned. There's money to be made over the short term, even though it means, life and death for everybody else. But with regard to, and Drew, I thank you for the call. With regard to whether Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump are positioned well to deal with the economy, which is where you started. I am strongly of the opinion that if the economy continues to kind of chug along, but starts to deteriorate. The top story in today's Financial Times Newsmine, the Friday, I often share these things with you on Fridays. I didn't today, but the top story was that last week another $9 billion was pulled out of equities. Over $100 billion have been pulled out of equities, as I recall, since the beginning of the year. It might be I might be off on my numbers. I don't have the article in front of me. I'm doing this from memory. But the point is that basically people are getting out of the stock market. And the professionals, the big institutional investors. And what that means is that they're starting to get a little worried. So if the economy slows down, if we go into a light recession, a sloppy recession, a painful but sloppy recession, that's going to work to the advantage of Donald Trump. And because, it's going to increase pain and anger, and he's the outsider, the non-traditional candidate, it would work to the advantage of Bernie Sanders if he was the nominee as well. And there's a fairly good likelihood that that's going to happen. I mean, Janet Yellen has already basically announced that interest rates are going to go up in June, and I think that's part of why we're seeing people getting out of the markets. On the other hand, if the economy really falls apart between now and the elections, that I think will work tremendously to the benefit of either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, whichever one is the Democratic Party nominee, because the if it really and truly falls apart, it'll be fairly easy to point at the Republicans in Congress as the source. And there's not a lot of Americans who don't understand this, that this massive obstruction by Congress does have consequences and is real and represents a danger to us all. And I don't think that it'll work to the advantage of Donald Trump, because no matter how much bluster he puts out there about how brilliant he is and what a great businessman he is, those bubbles are going to start to pop pretty soon. I mean, wait until the Oppo research starts coming out in a serious way, and he's going to be saying, "Oh, we'll get a beautiful," but people at that point, when they're really in bad pain, they're going to be saying specifically, "What do you intend to do?" And he's not going to have an answer for that.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.